Hello Facebook, how's it going? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to use AI Naturalist and how to be a citizen scientist from home. But before I jump into that, my name is Carly if we've never met before, and I work with the North Coast Regional Land Trust where I focus on community stewardship and engagement. And unfortunately for the month of May, the North Coast Regional Land Trust has canceled all of our events on the land with our community members. But we want to continue providing you with opportunities to safely connect with the outdoors during shelter in place. And for the month of May, we are hosting live streams every Thursday at 1 p.m. Where we share some ideas for how to safely connect with the outdoors during shelter in place. So thanks for tuning in today. This is our third event in May, and I'm really excited. So let's jump in. Today we are talking about something that is so near and dear to my heart, and that is citizen science. So we are going to talk a little bit about what it is, why is it important to conduct citizen science. We'll talk a little bit about some of the citizen science projects that the North Coast Regional Land Trust works on, and then I want to give you a quick introduction to AI Naturalist, which is a great resource to make observations, citizen science observations from home, you know, in any of the outdoor spaces that you have available to you right now during shelter in place, whether that's a backyard, your balcony, the park across the street from your house. AI Naturalist is going to be a great tool to help you start making some observations of the living world around you. So citizen science, what is it? Citizen science is really community member participation in scientific investigation. And that can look like so many things. That can be water quality sampling, it can be reporting river otter sightings, it can be tracking wildfire smoke in your community. The list for citizen science projects is really large because really many of the natural phenomena and things that we're seeing around us in the living world, there could be a citizen science project observing and recording that. So why then do we want to have community members participate in scientific investigation? And there are numerous reasons why we might want to have community members participating in citizen science. And two that I really want to focus on are the ability for citizen science observers to cover large distances of area over long periods of time. This has the potential to really provide data for, oh look at that, for members of the scientific community to use, community members, or even policymakers to be utilizing some of the data sets that citizen scientists can create. And there are community benefits. So participating in citizen science is an opportunity for all of us to connect with the outdoors and learn a little bit more about the natural world that is all around us. We start to, especially when you're making a citizen science observation of maybe a plant or an animal, you connect with it more deeply and learn a little bit more about it. So those are just two really quick reasons why I think citizen science is beneficial not only to the community but also to the scientific field. And if you have any other thoughts or reasons why you think citizen science is important, please leave that in the comment box. I would love to share that and hear from you. So we've talked a little bit about what citizen science is, why it is important, and now maybe you're wondering, well, what kind of citizen science projects does the North Coast Regional Land Trust do? And I'm so glad you asked. The North Coast Regional Land Trust, one of our more recent citizen science projects was called the Areas of Coexistence Study, and that was put on with funding support from the Sequoia Park Zoo Conservation Grant. So shout out, thank you for making that citizen science project happen. And what it looked like is throughout 2019, from April to December, we had game cameras, so wildlife cameras, out at our Freshwater Farms Reserve property. And we were building a data set that was showing us the different species that were using the property, frequenting the property, and really coexisting alongside the cattle that we have there seasonally and the nature trail. You know, it is a working and wild landscape where we see people, we see cattle, we see goats, and we really wanted to learn, you know, what wildlife are utilizing this property. And not only that, we wanted to be able to contribute that knowledge to a larger data set. So we would do bi-weekly data downloads and record the different wildlife that we were seeing on the property to iNaturalist. And iNaturalist is a app that allows you to share biodiversity data with other citizen scientists worldwide. And I'll talk a little bit more about iNaturalist in a little bit. We're going to get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what it is. But we were so excited because throughout 2019 we observed 22 different species, and that was a mix of amphibians, birds, mammals, and we were able to record 170 research grade observations, and we had over 32 citizen scientists, iNaturalist observers, who contributed over 350 observations, or excuse me, identifications. So we would put up an observation and an iNaturalist community member would sign on and say, yes, that is in fact a Pacific tree frog, or yes, you are looking at a northern harrier. And so if you're interested maybe in checking out the results of that study, I encourage you to check out inaturalist.org, head over to their website, and you can search areas of coexistence to check out the results of that study and see some of the wild creatures that we live alongside of and coexist with. But what is iNaturalist? You might be asking now that we've talked about it for a bit. iNaturalist, like I mentioned, is an app and an online platform where you can make observations of the natural world around you. You can upload them to this app, and community members of iNaturalist can make observations of what you're seeing in a place. And this is an incredible tool because it allows us, community members and citizen scientists, to make observations of the living world around us and really document what is existing where at a certain period of time. And so over long periods of time, we can look at this huge data set accumulated by many, many, many citizen scientists to see trends in changes to ranges, potentially with different populations that are observed. And really it is allowing us to build living data sets of all the different diversity that's around us. And you, with iNaturalist, you can make an observation of a plant, an animal, a bug, a bird, a snail, a slug. And well, I think you catch my drift. iNaturalist is an opportunity for you to make observations of all the living things around you. And on top of that, it doesn't necessarily need to be living. iNaturalist is also a great tool if you have, maybe you came across some animal poop or bird poop, or even maybe, unfortunately, like a dead bug or something. You can make an observation of that as well and upload it to iNaturalist. And so I want to give you a quick tutorial on how to use iNaturalist, but what I really want to do is, if you are interested in making an observation to iNaturalist, I encourage you to go to their website. That's inaturalist.org, and they have a ton of really great tutorials that are going to help you get up to speed and learn how to make some really effective observations using the app. But it's really straightforward. And a super fun way to start looking really closely at all the different bugs and birds and flowers and leaves and trees that you see around you. So I went ahead, I'm in my backyard right now, because I really want this to be a chance for you all to see how we can be making observations in any outdoor space. But I found a really beautiful flower that I want to walk through how to make an observation using AI Naturalist. So I'm going to walk us over there. I'll get us set up and then we'll dive in. So you gotta bear with me for just a moment as I am my own camera woman. But here we are set up with this beautiful flowering plant in front of us. And so I want to walk you through a couple things. The first step for making an observation to AI Naturalist is to download the app. So I have AI Naturalist here on my smart device, and you can download AI Naturalist from the App Store. That looks different for folks with Apple and Windows, but essentially you're going to go to whatever your App Store looks like. You will download AI Naturalist. It looks like this. It's a cute little bird, green bird. And once you've downloaded that, you can open it up, and this is my AI Naturalist app. What I will do if I want to make an observation of this flower, which I've decided is what I would like to observe, I will hit the observe button. It's kind of in the middle of the lower center. I'll hit observe and the camera is going to pop up. And what I do at this point is I'm going to take a photo of the specimen I want to observe. So I'll come over here, and that looks like a pretty good photo. I'm going to say click, and it took the photo for me. And I'll press next. So next. And what I always like to do is to take 2 photos so that community members on AI Naturalist can see the plant from, or animal, or whatever it is you're making an observation of, from multiple angles. So what I'll do, here's your first photo. I'm going to go ahead and press the small little add button, and I'm going to take a second photo from a slightly different angle, just so that folks can see a little bit more of the plant from some different angles. And so now you can see AI Naturalist has 2 photos up on this observation, and we're ready to move to the next step. And the next step is recording what you saw. So you can see the question mark here, and it says, what did you see? I'm going to click that button, and let's say you know what that species is. I know that I'm looking at a Douglas iris. I can type that in. So I can look up the species by name. But what I'm gonna see if this loads here is AI Naturalist is really awesome because it says it's loading suggestions. It will, if you don't know what a plant is, or whatever the specimen you are observing is, it will load suggestions of photos in its database that are visually similar. And so I don't have great service where I am. It could be why that's taking a while to load. So let's see if I can get back to that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to type in, since I know what it is, type in Douglas iris. And I'm going to say placeholder. Looks like I'm still connecting to the online platform, which is okay. And another cool fact about AI Naturalist is you don't need to be somewhere with service to make this observation. Just like I'm showing you right now, my service is pretty spotty out here where I live, but it's still recording the observation, and it will upload that once I have better service. And so you can write any notes you have. You'll see that it has a time and date stamp, which is really important so we can log where this was in space and time. It has a geotagged reference, some Latin long, and then it also has an option here for captive versus cultivated. And that, let's say you're making an observation of an animal, and it's going to ask you captive or cultivated. And what that means is this an animal that naturally occurs, or is this a goldfish that's in your house. And similarly for plants, is this a plant that is naturally growing, like this beautiful iris? Or was it a plant that I planted? So that's where you'll put that captive or cultivated. If it is captive or cultivated, you'll simply click on that and say yes or no. I'm going to say no because this was just naturally occurring here. And you are ready to make your observation. So you'll say share down here. You'll click this button and you can see that it is looking to upload. So with that, that is a quick and dirty tutorial on how to make an observation using AI Naturalist. And again, I really encourage you, if you're interested in using AI Naturalist, to go on their website. They have some really wonderful tutorials that'll teach you exactly how to use it. And you can start looking at some of the other data sets that folks have created. So there you have it, citizen science. What is it? Why it's important? Some of the things that the North Coast Regional Land Trust is doing with citizen science. And I hope that you will, actually I have a question for you. Definitely, are there any apps or citizen science projects that you are a part of that I didn't mention on here? I would love to hear about those, so leave a comment in the comment box if so. And I hope to see you next Thursday. That'll be May 28th. At 1 p.m. right here. We'll be talking a little bit about what land trusts do. And so until then, be safe, be well, and I look forward to seeing you. Take care.